Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. We are doing an Ask the Expert segment right now. Doyle Salewski joining us from Doyle Salewski. We're going to be taking your calls, 789-6559, extension 2803. You can always send us an email, a message via Twitter, via Facebook. We're going to be taking your calls over the next 2 segments. So it's pretty busy into the commercial break with questions coming in. So we're going to try to get to them right off the bat. And still sticking with proposals as the topic. We're going to check in on the phone lines. I do believe Glenn is standing by from Manotick. Glenn, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. What's your question?
My question is, your guest said it's far preferable to have a proposal. And part of the process reasoning is that you sort of clean the record. Well, I found that a proposal filed with the Credit Bureau to report my standing, compared to a bankruptcy, they both stay on my file. They both restrict me for future credit dealings. So I might just as well go bankrupt and not have to pay fees to the gentleman and end up in the same position years later.
Well, you're going to be paying fees whether you pay a bankruptcy or whether you pay a proposal. That's the first thing. What happens in a proposal is your credit bureau record is going to say for 3 years past the length of your proposal term that you filed a proposal in 2012. So if you have a 4-year plan, it'll stay there for 7 years. Quite frankly, some creditors will look at that as good. Some creditors treat it like it's a bankruptcy, but it's not. You definitely are not bankrupt. And some creditors actually know that it's a proposal and that's good. Bankruptcy, it stays there for about 6 or 7 years if you're a first-time bankrupt, and 14 years if you're a second-time or above. The ability to do a proposal, or the reasoning behind a proposal, really rests on your ability to repay as well. If you do have the resources to do a proposal, the law is going to say you should do a proposal. If you elect to file an assignment of bankruptcy, you can do that, not a problem, it's your call. However, the trustee has a positive obligation when it comes time for you to get out of bankruptcy to oppose you getting out of bankruptcy because you could have done a proposal. So the idea is, if you've got the resources to do it, you do the proposal. And frankly, it's probably better for you in the long run as well.
Interesting. So if you went straight to the bankruptcy and then you're coming out, they'll make a note to say you went right to bankruptcy.
If you have the ability to do a proposal,
right.
One of my obligations is to oppose you getting out of bankruptcy on the basis that you could have done a proposal. So it gets back to our analysis of what you have. And really, a lot of it's just really based upon income and what would happen in a bankruptcy based on the value of the assets that you might have.
Okay. Hopefully we're able to answer Glenn's question right there. I do believe we have another one that came in via email. And that's the question coming to us from Samantha. I filed for a proposal and I'm making monthly payments, but I have some extra money that I want to pay down on my debt. Can I make 1 or 2 extra payments that aren't in my plan? You've got smiles coming from people here.
The answer is yes. Yeah. You can pay off the proposal anytime you like. The 5-year limit or the 4-year limit is the maximum amount of time. Certainly if you have extra cash, you want to pay it down, you can. Now to some extent, you've got extra cash, you're paying down a debt that you're not paying interest on. You might be better to put that into a tax-free savings account or something, get a bit of interest and then use that later. But it's your call to do what you want to do. If you have that extra cash, you want to use it, go right ahead.
I mean, that's 2 different ways of completely looking at it.
That's
bringing
right.
it down or actually earning interest on
right.
some money. So
yeah. Remember, proposals, no interest. So it's interest-free money. So anyway, but for a lot of people, when they're doing their financing, it's better to take the extra cash and get rid of it and pay the proposal down.
I was going to say, isn't that a sense of relief to be able to see the numbers getting cut down?
Absolutely.
I mean, the satisfaction, I would think, of being able to make more of a chunk down on that debt than just seeing some.
That's right, but you're still obligated to pay off what you said you'd pay off. All you're doing is earlier. If you do it earlier, that's great. Right. Remember, if we just spoke about how long that stays in your credit bureau record, the quicker you pay the proposal off, the less time it's on your record.
And as you mentioned, it'll be 3 years on your record once you finish doing
right.
all of the proposal.
Right.
The other question I wanted to ask you was, we're looking at debt.
Yep.
And there are different companies that do different things, and,
right.
and certain companies have an ability to deal with different boards, if I may say that.
I think what you're talking about are debt settlement companies where you see them on TV all the time. You'll pay 30%, 40%. Well, debt settlement companies, first off, aren't sanctioned by the Government of Canada. They're not licensed trustees. They're individuals who go out there who are going to do deals with your creditors. The majority, if not all, debt settlement companies cannot deal with any kind of debt you have with CRA. So they won't deal with that at all. So that's a debt that's not going to go. Whereas in a proposal, we can deal with CRA. Now, what debt settlement companies do, they go to them, you do a plan, you give them money, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month. They accumulate that money, they pay themselves some fees, and once you've accumulated a certain percentage of your debt, then they contact your creditors. So many people come to see us who've gone to debt settlement companies, find themselves paying $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000, still getting the calls. Creditors don't even know that they've done a plan with XYZ debt settlement company. And there's nothing legally binding at the end of the day.
So those are things you really want to consider, I think, when you're trying to figure out where you want to go, who you want to trust.
That's right.
With the money, especially when it's money that is owed and that you want those creditors getting that money
That's right.
as soon as
That's
possible.
Right. That's right. You also don't want the hassles of the creditors calling you either. And if you're putting your money away, you're thinking you've done a great thing by doing that, and they haven't done anything for 5 or 6 or 7 months except pay themselves. That's pretty bad.
Interesting way of looking at things for sure. We're going to have another segment, so please, if you have your questions, but be sure to get them in. You can give us a call live on the air. You can also reach us via our email, via our Facebook, via our Twitter, and Paul will be back to join us with more questions after this.